worrying about, is it too late to repair? Is it too late to course correct? For listeners that are reparenting themselves while realizing that they already leaked some of their material onto their kids, I want to ask you what a person can do as they are parenting, as they reparent, but also balance it with the complexity of how tender this question can be.
Yeah, the first thing I want to say to anyone in any caregiving role is I want to celebrate you. You are quite literally doing two jobs at once. I mean, the enormity of the job that is to parent or to show up, right, for a dependent, developing creature is so huge. And chances are you are showing up to parent in circumstances where, more than likely, in your own childhood, you might not have been parented to the degree that you need it. You might not have had the attuned caregiver to meet your physical and emotional needs. So saying that to then say children, any of our relationships, though children especially, will activate the suppressed parts of you that are below your conscious awareness, parts of you that you haven't even met yourselves. Right. And so these moments of being triggered, of being activated, right, by our children, they're normal, natural human moments. We're going to be activated by anyone else that we're interacting with. And that includes our children. That is a relationship just like any other relationship. And it actually is a relationship that you are solely responsible for all of the needs in that dyad. So when I say the task is enormous, I am so wholeheartedly meaning that. So being triggered, being activated at any part of the parenting journey is to be expected, especially when you yourself weren't parented or didn't get the support you need. And this makes me think back to when I was in private practice and I did individual work with clients, and they would come in with so much shame. They would very bravely, these parents often report to me these moments of reactivity, of being angry, of reacting in a way with their child, or just being tired and not being wanting to show up at all times. And they would relay these very normal moments with such shame. And so the thing I want to speak to here is if you're a parent or in care of any individual or within any relationship, it is so normal to feel angry, even resentful of having to show up to care for another individual, even your own child, especially if in your own childhood or even currently now in today, real time, your physical, emotional needs aren't being met. Because it activates that young part of you that's like, well, I need to now show up and care of you. And who's taking care of me? No one ever took care of me. So when we are doing the two jobs of parenting another or caring for another and also trying to reparent ourselves, the importance of modeling or of developing, which is the journey for most of us, emotional maturity begins with identifying and meeting your own needs. This is where the cliche that many of us love to hate, right? You can't pour from an empty cup, could never be more true. The final thing I want to say to anyone parenting anyone is children to be much more impacted, not by saying the right things, not by reading the right books, wink, wink, and delivering the right lines, but by showing up, right, in a calm, grounded state, which means by navigating moments of disagreement, of conflict, of dysregulation, because all of that is completely normal in relationships. So, right, as we're coming to awareness, we're reparenting ourselves in those moments where, as a parent, say we're overreacting and saying things we don't mean to or want to say to our children. So, we're not going to shame that habit or pattern. We're going to say, okay, chances are those habits develop because in my own childhood, I didn't have the resources, the ability. No one modeled for me or taught my body how to be calm, how to be present, how to deal with difficult emotions, how to navigate conflict. So now what I can do, so to answer the question I heard wrapped in there is never too late. We now know, verified by science, our bodies, our brain can change through neuroplasticity. We can fire and wire some new neurons together at any time, which means no matter how old, you very courageously inspire yourself to create new actions or change as a parent, the impact is going to be so great because what your child will see you do is changing. They will experience you different over time. You're modeling conflict resolution and difficult conversations and increased capacity. And that change is what then carries on for decades.
Wow. So many of us were conditioned that the idea of anything is selfish, when she was just talking about resourcing ourselves so that we can learn these new skills, so that we can show up and modeling. And so there was a lot of really powerful pieces of wisdom in what Dr. Nicole just shared, but it's so natural for our brains when we're feeling all the mixed feelings, especially on a topic that's as tender as this one. It's natural for us not to be able to hear everything the other person just said. So I want to pull forward one last time. We get to model new things. We get to hold new spaces. We get to learn new skills.